Today is November 15th, and we're doing 3 sections today. One of them's nonsense, but I don't know the other 2.
What have we not done so far?
AI and robots.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the other.
It's on the screen.
Is it? No, it's not. Social media.
Hey.
Well, we do. So social media and business kind of like...
Often we will put those together. But
yeah,
today,
so it gets confusing.
Today there was just so much
There's
business
an overlap.
news that this is a crazy Friday. This is bonus Friday. And it doesn't cost you an extra $10.
Unless
Yet.
you're a patron.
So...
Except they don't have to pay $10 if you're a patron.
You get it for $1. We will start with Facebook, and this story was absolutely everywhere. And everybody had like a little bit of a slightly different headline take on it. I ended up putting it in here 4 or 5 times. Because everybody was like, I was like, oh, look at all this Facebook news. But no, it was all about the same thing, which is a giant leak from the past that's come back to haunt them.
Leaked documents show Facebook leveraged user data to fight rivals and help friends. We covered this originally. This is the 643 thing. There was a guy in the UK, and Facebook was ordered to provide this data. It's like the California thing that we were talking about on Monday, except it was the UK version of the California thing. It's like, hey, remember Cambridge Analytica? What happened a long time ago? Blah, blah, blah. We need data. Yeah, Europe had the same problem, except Europe dealt with it a little differently. There was an executive traveling in Europe. They seized the dude's laptop, and they got all the documents and stuff. They made it to court. The documents made it to court, but they were sealed. Well, now they've been not really unsealed, but they've been leaked. The press has...
released from the Disney vault.
Yeah, released from the Disney vault, I guess. And so now everybody has these, and there's going to be an endless amount of stories about these leaks, because literally all the worst things that you might think of Facebook as doing in terms of like user data, and it's like, is it a level playing field and access to the API, and like the stuff they were saying in California, it's like we're super complying with this looks really bad for Facebook.
I also pointed out that some of the employees at the time questioned this stuff openly.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, I feel like we're doing all these things that Facebook was eventually, accused of and, was really put down for doing. People brought it up and are like, hey, this seems like, are we the bad guys? And Zuckerberg was like, we will do it. I am the law.
It's like not only are we the bad guys, but we're going to make so much money doing this, you're not even going to care. You got Facebook stock options. Just be quiet. It's like, all right.
In other Facebook news, so another flashback to Cambridge Analytica. Now, if you'll recall, Cambridge Analytica was called a hack. It was not a hack. It was something that was an API that Facebook gave to developers that it wanted to partner with. And one of the big things about settling that case was we have taken away all of those privileges. And then a little bit later, they were like, wait, but Sony still has these privileges. Microsoft, and they're like, no, not anymore. We fixed it for real this time. And then
Facebook says 100 software developers may have improperly accessed user data.
Whoops.
So they found another batch of 100 or so software developers that still had the old permissions to the API so they could do whatever. So Facebook has said, we're going to get in contact with those developers and we're going to audit their systems to make sure they delete anything that they may have used improperly.
But it's never going to happen again. It's impossible that it could ever happen again.
For real this time.
It won't happen.
Extra mega for
I trust Zuckerberg.
I thought, no, this is interesting because remember in the congressional testimony, he was like, no, we've put controls in place to prevent this from happening. So like...
But that doesn't count for the old people. Come on, be realistic.
We were already doing business with the people we wanted to do business with. It doesn't matter.
We've talked a lot about Facebook. It's just insanely deciding to put their name on all of their products when they'd be better off with people not knowing that they own those products because people hate them. But now it seems like that was all part of a big plan to pull a Google and do the umbrella company.
Facebook rebrands as calls for government-led breakup continue. I did not I wanted to see exactly what the rebranding was.
It was featured on some design blogs, and it's very minimal.
Yeah, I think they've. Yeah, there's
there it
the
is.
logo.
Yeah, that's it. And it changes colors if it's in like a digital format.
I saw it but in the paragraph, it's like they've changed everything to Facebook, and it's in caps.
Well, it's kind of like Maps by Google. And
Google Maps,
Google News.
Yeah.
So now it's like Facebook, WhatsApp.
But it's weird because there's one that's Facebook.
Yeah.
And so really, I feel like it should have been like, well, because Google, is also in like Alphabet, so it's like I don't.
But Google doesn't use the Alphabet name in its branding.
They
which is
don't. That's a
different.
good point.
Jacob by Mark Jacobs for Mark Jacobs.
So yeah, it seems like they're just trying to get ahead of the government mandated breakup to be like, hey, we already broke
We
up.
already we have this whole new logo and branding. And
Just imagine the giant planet-sized statue of Mark Zuckerberg belching fire and saying, "Remember me."
I think that would be preferable to the actual branding they did. Because the branding they did, it's fine. It's perfectly competent, but it's a little boring. But so it does feel like a
Well, you kind
surface level move.
You kind of described Facebook in 2019.
Yeah.
So we talked
perfect.
about China and Russia stealing secrets, and that's definitely something to be concerned about. Where does your national patriotic duty outperform your allegiance to your job? And in most cases, I think a lot of people would say always, at least in those countries. Well, they're not the only one. There's some other issues with outside countries.
Engadget reports that former Twitter employees have been charged with spying for Saudi Arabia. Now, Twitter didn't figure this out. The U.S. federal authorities figured this out. And some people that used to work for Twitter have been arrested, as well as somebody that was a go-between for the Twitter employees and the Saudi Arabian government.
Wow.
Now this one, when China does it, it's just intellectual property. It's all fun and games, right? That's just some fun, like nobody gets killed. When Saudi Arabia does it, there could be beheadings.
There could be put in a vat of acid things, like that one journalist, poor guy.
Well, they did that after he was dead.
So if you're in China, you get disappeared.
There was a fair bit
Your
of
organs
torture
removed.
before he died.
Who knows what the American... What
Kosagi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like they killed him in the hotel. It was just disposing of his body. It was all the other
What's
stuff.
what's Americans' MO? Like, what do we do that's terrible that everyone else...
Oh, no, we torture. We just do it off
Discreetly,
outside the
yeah, I was
country.
gonna say,
It's
but
the
like-
CIA renditions.
There's beheadings in Saudi Arabia and organ theft in
Well,
China.
To be fair, like with the Assange thing, it's like we don't sanction that. We just hire some contractors to just make it happen.
Oh, our thing is we bomb weddings.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, I mean,
Or just invasions in general.
it's more impersonal, but the body count is much higher. So we got that going for us. We talked a while back about this AI that was really good at generating text. Like really, really good. It was so good that the creator was like, the world must not have this. It's too powerful. You'll destroy each other with it. But that may have been a little bit of overreaction. And now we have it.
OpenAI has published the text-generating AI that it said it was too dangerous to share. Yes, you could just GitHub this right onto your own machine.
Krista, did you read this?
No, I did not.
You should have read it
Oh,
because it's the
man.
most amazing Lord of the Rings fanfic ever.
You're never going to be able to see that.
Is it
right?
on the quality of Legolas and Laura?
No,
It's about Legolas and Gimli.
Oh.
Now, one of the issues is it repeats the same paragraph right here both times. These
Yeah.
are exactly the same.
Revolutionary.
And then it starts in here, but it's about Gimli fighting some orcs, and there's some logical fallacies in there, but other than that, it's really good.
it's almost coherently written. Look, I can read a paragraph.
That's how
of
I
it,
feel
'cause
about most fan fiction. It's
Please don't.
almost
This
coherent.
episode's probably not going to be super long running.
Were you
No,
gonna
no,
read
it's
it?
fine. It's fine. We can
Don't
go
read
on.
Don't read it out loud. I'll check it out later. I didn't see
That's
this.
the engagement challenge.
So yeah, you can get that, and you can make your own. And they talk about how, like scammers could use that because it's really convincing and it's just automated.
You can trap the AI, like you can formulate your responses to the AI so that the AI gets trapped in a recurrence relation loop, which is basically what happened with the paragraphs there.
Now we talked about the first drone delivery. It was a birthday present, although we never learned what it was, which I was disappointed about. I want to know what it was. Maybe it was something embarrassing. But
Just
now
socks.
we have another delivery, and this time the first prescription.
UPS drone makes its first home prescription deliveries for CVS. It wasn't really UPS. UPS outsourced this to some other company. It had the name of the company in there. But yeah, it was. It dropped it on a lawn, like it was a controlled descent from like 20 feet. Flight Forward's maiden delivery was in Cary, North Carolina, of all places.
I think the other one was in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've always wondered, like, how are they going to deal with dogs jumping and destroying the drone, or getting the rotors tied up in something,
The
or
root
whatever.
factor.
And so it seems like the way they're going to do it is lowering down by rope, which is an interesting thing to do. A dog could still get a hold of that rope.
Yeah, Rue would just yank that right down. Oh, time to play?
What if you saw Rue just floating away, hanging on the rope?
You dropped that. Drop it. Drop it.
She's probably too heavy, but some of those little purse dogs could definitely get carried away by
Yeah,
that
Rue,
thing.
we weighed her last night. Last time she went to the vet, she was 45 pounds. She's 55. She's been eating too much peanut
Wow.
butter. My husband feeds her too much treats.
She's having trouble adjusting to the new lifestyle. She's
She's overeating.
stress eating. Yeah.
Even though we control her meals.
Now we talk about good thumbnails and stock photos and stuff, and this one's a video, but the first frame of this video is terrible for this story.
Waymo's latest partnership shows self-driving potential in deliveries.
Here's your package, bitch.
This is an unrelated story.
I think I get it. This story is about delivering auto parts, and these guys are going to need some auto parts. Yeah. So yeah, the potential is delivering auto parts. So yeah, there's a group of garages and auto part stores, and I guess dealerships, and these self-driving cars are going to drive there and deliver the auto parts. I don't know why that's different from any other kind of product, but that's what they're doing. We talked about this one earlier, but I put it in the robot section. Of course I did. That makes sense because it's a robot car performing very poorly.
Driverless Tesla coasting along a mall parking lot raises questions and causes confusion. Look, it's going the wrong way. It's driving down the middle of the road. Literally, oh no.
I'd
It
be more scared by the fact that there's no driver in it, like if that was around here, but
Yeah, so we talked about this. Who's to blame if it hits somebody, when it hits somebody, because it's gonna, and does the insurance cover it? And I think the answer is always no, and you're gonna go to jail.
if you have that kind of money to buy a car like that, though, like
That's a Model 3, Krista. Was it like 45 grand?
that's still a lot for a car. Maybe I'm just cheap.
My car costs a lot more than that.
Listen,
This was a
most
great.
people don't follow your choices for cars.
This-
Priuses.
This was a great headline, and the video was even better. We got to play a little bit of it. I don't want to get trapped by the algorithm.
It's that time of year again. Fall is here, and the packs of robot dogs are frolicking in the leaves. Oh, and you have to watch this video. Like, we'll only show you a tiny, tiny little piece of it, but
Look at them go!
it is so cute.
They're more adorable than the spots because of the fast motion of their legs.
Yeah. On one hand, that would be terrifying coming toward you, but like from the side like this, it's cute.
They play soccer.
Oh, look how much fun they're having.
So this is not. Oh, did I have that on the screen the entire time?
I don't know. It might have just been us reacting to it.
I hope I did.
Oh.
This is not. What's the name of that company?
I know who you're talking about.
Labs.
Boston.
The
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
But it is MIT, and I think Boston Dynamics started at MIT, right?
Yeah.
So this is not the same group of people, although they did borrow heavily from their design.
I can't help but
Look
notice.
at them.
Like, I can't help but notice how the metalwork and the alloys look exactly like the T800 endoskeleton.
You should go back so they can see it.
We can't show them
Oh
all
no.
of it.
Oh.
Oh, when I hit numbers, it seeks.
Oh, we got to see that clip of them all. Here it is. There's one where they're all jumping up and down in unison. Oh.
That took a long time to set up. Oh no!
Those are
not what I wanted to
infiltrators.
do.
Yeah. So just hiding in the leaves.
I can't wait for the reaction gifs based on those.
It's very
Endearing.
not humanizing, but
And
that's when an animal becomes a human.
Oh,
I don't know what is the word for making a robot seem like an animal? It's got to be a word, right?
Probably. If it's not, it's going to be one.
And speaking of AI, like the writing AI being very good, what happens when we try to teach AI how to do other things? And as we've seen, there was one that named horses and cats and stuff. The results are hilarious. And this one is not an exception.
Can AI learn to flirt? In this article, and the answer is yes, but
Not
awkwardly.
Really. Not really. So this is a little bit overblown. What they did is they tried to use the machine learning thing to come up with pickup lines, the way that they came up with horse names and stuff like that. And this is probably going to have to be the title of the news. The best one is "You look like a thing, and I love you." But also, "Are you a candle because you're so hot of the looks with you?"
Wow, I can't wait to use these on my husband later.
So it understood the basic concepts of the cheesy pickup line, but it couldn't quite execute. Oh man, I don't want to answer your stupid survey. So we talk about AI solving problems. Now, last week we had the quantum computer that had solved the unsolvable, and it had done it in 11 minutes.
Yeah.
So here's one that has solved it in. I think this one took like 3 minutes to solve a problem that could take hours and hours with traditional models.
The three-body problem has perplexed astronomers since Newton formulated it. AI just cracked it in under a second.
So this has to do with 3 celestial bodies and how they interact with each other in gravity. And it's very, very complicated how you calculate that. It's not intuitive at all. But the machine learning, no problem.
Yeah. Machine learning actually maybe gave us a different way to think about it that is not as complicated.
That'll be useful when we go to Mars.
This feels bad for the there's a science fiction book that's really popular that's based around the 3-body problem. Feel bad for that author. Whoops.
He's already got his money.
He's planning a sequel.
And moving on to the nonsense section. Now, if you are having trouble, you've got that difficult person in your life. We've all got this person. You just don't know what to get them for the holiday season, right? It's the person who has everything or the person who doesn't want anything. Well, I think this is the answer. This is a unique gift that they're going to remember you forever for.
Ambrosia, the young blood transfusion startup, is quietly back in business.
How about the blood of the innocent?
The company says it paused operations after an FDA notice, but the customer demand remained high. They got that FDA thing squared away, and they're back in business.
So they've got a new business model. I think you can still go to their center and get it in some cases, but they also have a service now where they will just ship this youth blood to your doctor, and your doctor can pump it into you.
Yeah, you think any doctor who wants to keep their medical license will do that?
I don't know. But they're saying that if your doctor's doing it, then the FDA can't come after them because the doctor's doing it, right?
The doctor's doing it, but like...
It's an elective transfusion.
Do no harm.
I don't...
Ages 16 to 25. Do you think there's a curve, a cost curve that goes up as age goes up?
Well, it's
Probably, right.
It's also not a full blood transfusion. You only get a liter or two for $8,000 to $12,000.
That's highway robbery.
How much do you think they pay the 16-year-olds?
Like $50.
Yeah.
Box of cookies.
Yeah.
Some loot boxes in Fortnite.
They got like a blood themed, you know, those like loot crates.
Yeah.
It's a blood themed loot crate.
I wanted the Fortnite nurse skin. What are you talking about? It's the only way to get it.
Oh, what a dark world. The movies they're not making a lot of money these days. The Terminator film did not do well. It's going to lose like $80 million when all's said and done, which is...
That's kind of a lot.
Oh, that is bad. And they
not
even,
as bad as SoftBank.
They pulled in Schwarzenegger again.
Yeah.
What do you think they had to pay him?
Half the original cast was there.
Probably a lot.
Yeah. So when you're making a movie, you need a gimmick, right? You got to have something that's going to bring the people in because we're so jaded with Netflix and all the entertainment. So obviously, just start resurrecting actors from the dead, right? It's simple, really.
James Dean is going to be reborn in CGI for a Vietnam War action drama exclusive. Now, James Dean died in 1955 in a car crash, but now he's going to work real cheap for this new this new thing.
What generation of his family or his descendants do you think we're on? How many removed?
Great, two or three. Has it entered the public domain? How many years after?
No. They had to negotiate with his family.
Wow.
With his estate.
I was gonna say there's part of me that thinks too that like modern moviegoers aren't gonna know or care about James Dean.
Well, they will after his amazing role. Who do you think's going to voice him?
I said that a voice actor is going to voice him, but
the guy who does Murderface's voice in Metalocalypse.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I don't think it's, but I think people will at least this once be curious about like how are they going to do that, and they'll go see the movie.
Yeah.
Although, is that something you go to the theater to see?
I don't care. Like, it's a gimmick. I mean, I guess I don't know. That seems to be what sells. So I don't know.
If you are going for the nostalgia, they're going too far back, right?
Yeah, I would think you would want to go with someone
Like,
more recently dead.
I get Michael Jackson and Tupac, but who is left that worships James Dean?
It's people who don't go to the theater because they're like in a nursing home.
Well, because the walker is hard to navigate the sticky floor.
Yeah.
And the power chair. So Silicon Valley has a lot of weird ideas and fads and, hipster stuff that they do. And this one is one of the most disappointing, I think.
Silicon Valley founders are going on a dopamine fast. Is this idea ridiculous or a stroke of genius? So a dopamine fast is you avoid any kind of stimulation for a day. You basically just meditate and you don't read or get on the internet or watch TV or do anything. You just...
Even work out. Because working out is a reward center activity. Eating is a big reward center activity. So you know what? You're
literally fasting.
You eat basic foods or something, like drink water or broth or something that's not going to give you any pleasure, and you just sit in silence and contemplate the world.
I would be insane by hour 2.
You should do a dopamine fast.
I would be hearing colors by like hour 3.
What if you have a seasonal depression and you naturally dopamine fast? It's a built-in feature in some people's brains.
You're overpowered because this makes you better.
Oh, apparently. I actually don't mind the idea of like meditation or taking time off to be quiet and contemplate, but this seems like it is a little bit of a fad.
But they'll do it for a day or two at a time.
Yeah, and like not eating and doing anything at all.
They pointed out one instance where a guy this woman, I think it was the reporter, ran into a guy, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's so good to see you." And he's like, "Yes, it is really good to see you, which is why I'm not going to talk to you anymore because I'm dopamine fasting."
Yeah, like that's a thing too far. Like stay at home if you want to do something like that and just reflect.
That's a good question. I wonder what he was out for, because it wouldn't be food, right?
Yeah, you're not going out for food. You're not going out to exercise. You're not going to work.
You could go out for a walk. I mean, that probably is not going to trigger too much dopamine.
What if you're out for a walk and you see some really cute puppies just being
I was
super
going to
cute?
say, when I take a walk around the office, like around 3 o'clock every day, there's some cute cats over here in the neighborhood. And every time I see them, I'm like, "Oh, come here, kitty cats. Come here and let me pet you." And they won't let me. They don't want me to pet them.
That's probably good because they probably have rabies.
Or fleas at the least.
No, they're surly. They're too surly. They're owned by someone because they're always in their front yard.
You get fleas in that hair, you're taking it home to your dog.
Oh, that's true. Rue's never had fleas. She'd probably enjoy the experience. She
make
enjoys
friends
everything.
with them.
Yeah.
So Canada has a Remembrance Day, which I suppose is similar to our Memorial Day. It's about wars and veterans, and actually Veteran Day is it was Monday here in the U.S. So Canada has a similar kind of thing, and they're having trouble reaching out to the youth. They don't think the youth appreciate the gravity of wars and veterans and the losses that were accumulated, the freedoms that were won in those wars. So they have a novel idea of how to teach them those things.
The Royal Canadian Legion partners with Fortnite to teach military history for Remembrance Day. So there's an island that apparently simulates World War I trenches and all kinds of other things, but there's no violence, there's no guns, your weapons don't work there. It's
Trench foot only.
You can it's like a tour, like you can just wander around.
And these flowers...
There's poppies and tulips and...
These will guide you through the years of warfare to see the different kinds. Is taking the violence and the horror out of war the best way to teach our children about it?
Yeah,
Probably
wouldn't you
not.
really want to show off the mud pits and like how people were drowning in the mud? And
Now, one reason you might not want to do that is to recruit them into the military. Oh, that's what this is.
look at all these monuments that'll be built in your honor.
My favorite new meme, hands down, is the Epstein didn't kill himself meme. Oh my God, those are so good. And they always get me. You know, like the reveal gets me and I'm like, God, that was good.
I think we're reaching peak. Like, I think in another week it'll be too far.
Yeah, that's probably true. But for now, it's amazing and it's everywhere.
San Diego Airport, Epstein cover-up alert was an employee mistake. So somebody was picking somebody else up at the airport, and they used the name Epstein Coverup, and the San Diego Airport employee was like, "All right, paging Epstein Coverup. Epstein Coverup, you can meet your party at landing pad C or whatever."
You know what? I don't believe that Epstein killed himself. I think this is a great thing. You know,
does anyone believe it? Like,
I think some people do, yeah. But as much awareness as we can get about it, you know, why not? What's bad about that? Well, you can watch live streams of a lot of different things these days. You can watch gaming, you can watch eating, you can watch pretty girls just talking and showing their body off. What else we got? People play music, they do art.
Someone feeds their dog a treat every time someone subscribes.
That seems like animal abuse. That seems like animal abuse.
If you donate $100, he'll cook the dog a steak. I've never seen that happen.
So, always breaking new ground, but I think this is definitely a first.
Doctors live stream brain surgery on conscious woman in Texas. So yeah, the hot new thing, not really hot new thing, but something that's prudent to do is when you're doing brain surgery on somebody is to make sure that they're conscious, so that you know if you start cutting into something important, you can stop doing that.
And she literally could watch her own brain surgery. How creepy is that?
She could. I think they're usually asking you like questions like, "What's your name? What's the date? What color is this?" Like, real basic bitch questions.
You know what my answer would be to all those questions? Epstein didn't kill himself.
That would have been amazing. Just trolling the doctors the whole
The doctors
time.
are like, "Oh no, we've cut into something repetitive."
Sir, take this seriously. This is your future. He didn't kill himself.
Oh, this story was amazing. This was like legit uplifting.
Medical science is going to amazing places, and I think some of the most amazing ones. Have you seen those? Like, people will have just their entire face will be burnt off, and then they'll replace it, and it's like, well, he looks a little goofy, but wow, that's a big improvement, you know?
Yeah.
And
well, just quality of life would be so much better too.
And talking about quality of life, this may be, in terms of like pure quality of life improvement, the most amazing surgery ever.
A veteran feels normal again after world's first penis and scrotum transplant. What's the stock photo on this one?
It's actually really great.
Wow. I don't know what I expected. It was not that. Not from that angle.
This is a video, and it says graphical representation of pelvic reconstruction. So
yeah, we're not clicking
we
that.
won't play that. But this guy was a military guy, and I think it was like a landmine or something.
He lost his legs too.
And, took off the whole beans and carrots there. And they rebuilt it with almost 100% return to function.
That is incredible. Like, they were able to reattach the nerves, and it said that he had sensation and that everything is operational again.
Erections.
He can't reproduce.
They didn't give him testicles. They couldn't do that.
Yeah.
What about... I have so many questions.
But that's the best possible scenario for it.
Yeah. Well, like...
It's fully operational again.
Can he pee out of it? Wow.
Yeah. He can do whatever he wants. And
men's plumbing is so much more efficient in terms of like reconstruction.
Well,
and just construction in general.
But women don't suffer the same risk of removal because it's like all on the outside there.
That's true. It is a pain to pee in the woods, though.
Anyway, I'm excited about this.
This was a...
in case you ever lose yours, you can get another.
Yeah.
This was a first. Like, that is
cool.
They've never had a surgery this complicated and this successful. The doctors are over the moon, and there hasn't really been much of a problem with rejection, they said. I don't know what much of a problem means in that context.
Oh, that's got to be a dark day if you wake up and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't feel good.
That's not supposed to be black.
But I'm legit impressed they were able to reattach the nerves, because I was not aware that we were to the point where like you could just, splice those nerves together and basically everything's fine.
There's probably, a council of doctors. And they're like, James, you just can't do this. And he's like, by God, I'll reattach it. You watch me.
They're like, we can afford either to do the legs or the penis. and the guy picked that.
You're a madman, James. You can't do the full scrotum. And he's like, I'll do the full scrotum.
Can you, you can't really reattach a leg the same way yet. It sounds like if they can reattach nerves, like.
I really wonder how much farther that can be away, because like you can reattach the nerves, you could relearn how to use a donor leg.
But they also talked about, they used the word donor in here. Was this a donor penis?
Yes.
Yeah, use your body for science. Sign the back of your license.
Yeah.
Do you think he got a better penis the second time around?
No, the line in there was actually fascinating, because the doctors went to the cadaver and cut away the tissue to exactly fit the requirements of their patient. So unlike a heart or a liver or whatever, where like it's a generic thing, like the specs.
You get what you get.
Yeah, they took everything that they needed exactly for that patient, which is kind of an unusual thing in a donor situation.
Yeah, but I'm saying, was it bigger?
Asking the tough questions here at the Level 1
Everybody's
news desk.
thinking it.
We've got the elective
Guys are lining up.
Yeah.
Is there going to be like a crazy Japanese billionaire who pays somebody $200 million for his penis?
That's already a thing for women. Some women do a reconstruction on their genitals.
Yeah, but they don't have to have a donor.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, catfishing. So catfishing is a big thing. If you don't know what it is, it's when you pretend to be somebody else and try to hook up online with somebody, often just leading them along, but maybe also meeting them and somehow expecting that to not go terribly. Well, in Australia, they're cracking down.
Proposed changes to the law could see catfishers charged with sexual assault. So if you go on a date with somebody and tell them a false name or whatever, and everything is fine, you could be charged with sexual assault.
And there's actually a bunch of laws here. It's as simple as using a fake picture on your dating profile. Now, how do you think filters would play into this?
Yeah, I don't know. I could see how that would be like, though. You have to get consent, like a knowing consent. And if someone doesn't know, your real name, or, you dramatically lie about what you do and how you look, like,
yeah, well, that's
it's not knowledgeable consent at that point. It's coercion.
Well, that would be another thing. It's coercion if you go and you meet a girl at a bar and you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm Jeff Bezos. And I want to take you home.
I'm a millionaire, and yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, really? And then you have sex with them. That would be considered a crime under these laws. Weird time to live.
I don't know. I don't know how you determine that. I guess, I don't know. On one hand, it's like that maybe is a good thing in some cases. In others, I could see how that could be abused, but I don't know.
We should not read these hashtags if we want our monetization.
Well, this week on Twitter, there were some interesting hashtags that got into the top trending. So if you look over to the right on Twitter and you see the top hashtags, somehow these two got in there.
Yeah, Twitter's current top trending hashtags are really terrible. It's like yet another embarrassing failure of an algorithmic trends widget.
One that does come up every Friday is Fursuit Friday. I see that every week.
I mean, sure, that first one's bad, but why are holiday pies under attack?
Hostess makes those. I don't understand.
Also, another lazy stock photo.
Very lazy.
Is it supposed to be like on a stick? Is that?
I think that is probably a prop of some sort from the Dollar Tree, and then they just took a picture of it on a backdrop.
So there's not much to the story, just the idea that
algorithms are terrible.
Yeah,
and suppressing things.
Let's just get one more look at those hashtags.
It's like, by the way, Level 1 actually does like 4 to 5 videos a week, or like 5 most of the time. But you probably didn't know that because you don't get the notifications.
We should start using these hashtags.
Oh, there've been a lot of really scary changes to the YouTube terms of service. That might be
That's actually a really big thing.
That might be a story for next week. I'll see how that's going to shake out. It's going to be scary.
A lot of full-time YouTubers freaking out. We don't fall under that umbrella, but it is still nerve-wracking a little bit.
A bunch of Markiplier's subscribers got suspended because they were spamming emotes, but they weren't really.
Well, it was it was some sort of choose your own adventure thing. And,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he asked them, like, use this emote if you want me to do this. And
And
then
that-
they did, and then they all got banned.
Yeah. Not only from YouTube, but their Google accounts. No more Gmail. No more pictures. Nothing.
Google Docs, all of it gone. Anyway.
It's dark times. See you next week. Probably.
Join us on Patreon. Floatplane.
Oh yeah,
you.
we're going to Floatplane, so that'll be fun. Not exclusively, but just more content on Floatplane. So.